Hey, I'd like to share a project I've been working on for like a month now. So the name of the project is Poko, and what it does is that it allows you to create a website from Notion. So you have your Notion pages, and then you can just hit publish, and it's published like a website, a real website, with your URL and so on. What I'd like to show today is a quick, basically the quick start guide to show you how to deploy your website, and then just play a little bit with the functionalities and show you how to write content and publish easily with Poco. So the current URL is poco.m4rr.co. So I encourage you to go to that URL and follow the guide at the same time. Okay, so basically, yes, just a quick rundown on the functionalities. So it's 100% free. The code is open source, and we rely on a few services to deploy your website. But all services we use have a free plan that's more than enough to do what we have to do. You edit your website in Notion, so that's why I called it almost WYSIWYG, because you're not really working on your website, but in Notion it's like good enough to see how it will look. Yeah, low friction writing and a modern website. So let's dive into it. Let's go to the quick start guide. And I'll follow the guide at the same time, but I'll show you because there's a lot of explanation, but when I show you it, you will see it's really easy. So first off, I already created all the accounts I need. So I have a completely blank Notion account with nothing in it. I have a new GitHub account with nothing in it. And then I will show you two methods to deploy your website. First with Vercel, the same, a completely blank account, and I'll show you how it works. And then I'll show you another method with Netlify, and again, completely blank account. This is I'll post the URL in the description, but this is the project, the code of the project that you will need at some point, and I'll show you how it works. But this is open source, so you can like fully audit or see what's going on in the code. And the website. So let's go. First, if you have created your Notion account, if you don't, like pause the video and go create your account. You will see there's a template here. So I'll open this in another tab. And this is basically the Notion workspace that we use to deploy the website. So the website I showed you, this one. So the whole website is published from this Notion workspace. We'll just duplicate this one in our own Notion account. So it will take some time. Okay, so now we have the exact copy of the workspace I showed you earlier, but it is in our own Notion account. Next, what we'll need to do is create an integration, a Notion integration. The link is here. Let's open this in another tab. And it's really easy. Just create another integration. Let's call this whatever you want, but let's say website. we'll give it the least permission we can. So we need to read content, but for the moment, that's all. Maybe later we'll add functionality to Poko, and maybe it will need to update content or insert content. But let's keep it simple for now. And no user information. Submit. Okay, so that's all. Almost all we need to do with the integration. Last thing is we go back to the workspace we just copied, duplicated in our own Notion account, and we need to share this with the integration we just created. So the integration was called website. I'll click on it, invite, and that's all we need to do. Note that I'm in the root Notion page we copied, and it will automatically be invited for all the pages. So don't forget to be on the root page when you share with the integration. Okay, so we've just done all of this and invite the integrations, all of this too. Next, there's two ways to go about it. I'll show you the quickest way, but not the best, and then I'll show you the best way to do it. So the one-click setup, like it said here, we'll use Vercel, so this button, because this one doesn't work at the moment. Maybe when you see this video it will work, but let's go with Vercel for this example. So I have created my Vercel account, like I said before. So I'll just click on the button, open it in another tab. And what it does is basically it will automatically take the code, add it to your GitHub account, and then link it into Vercel to deploy your website. So I have a GitHub account I created earlier, like I showed you. So I'll click here to put the code in my own repository. So it found my account. I'll give it a name of Poko Vercel, just because I'll have two later. And I'll uncheck this so that the repository is public. I don't really care if it's public because the code is open source anyway. So I'll create. What this does is that in your GitHub account, it will create a new repository automatically for you. So yes, I already linked GitHub with Vercel. So maybe when you do that, it will ask to connect your GitHub account to Vercel. But if you are connected if you are logged in GitHub and logged in Vercel, it's an easy step. It's like 2 clicks and it's done. So what he did is he created a repository here with the name Poko Vercel. That's the name I gave it. And the code has been downloaded, if you want, into your own repository. Okay, so that's clear enough, I think. Now we need to configure this. Basically, it's just two variables we need. So first one is the Notion token. So we'll get back to the integration page, and here we have a token that will allow Vercel to connect to our Notion website. So I'll copy paste this here and the site. Let's go with something easy first. HTTPS. I'll call this like Poki dot Vercel that app. This one is not needed absolutely to build a website, but you'll need it for proper functioning website in the end. So let's put this for first, and then we'll go in the settings later and change. If we need it, we can change it later. I'll deploy. And now it takes about 1 minute, something like that, to build the website. Maybe the first time it will take a little bit more. In the meantime, what we can do is that I can show you. Okay, let's go with the user guide. So if you go in the guides here, you'll have a user guide, and this is basically the explanation for how everything works in Notion to edit your content, publish it, modify everything. There's a lot you can do, but starting out is really easy. So it's really powerful in the end, but you can use like 10% of the functionality, and it's good enough. So basically, Poko is a static website. So it means it will create static files, so HTML, CSS, and JavaScript files. It will be uploaded in a server. So it's very lightweight. And what it means is that it will not update your content the moment you edit it in Notion. So if you make some edits in Notion, you'll have to like click a button for it to be published, and it will take like I said, like 1 minute or so to rebuild the website, and your website will be updated. And that's what is going on now in Vercel. If you don't know about static website, Vercel, Netlify, static host, I encourage you to just read a little bit about it or watch a video, and you'll get it quite fast. Let's come back here and see if it worked. Yes, congratulations, it worked. We'll get back to the user guide later. So let's go to the dashboard. And basically, I'll just click the link here. Where is it? Yes, here. And this is our functioning website. So I don't know how much time it took, like 10 minutes maybe, with explanations. So that's basically a copy of the website I just showed you, but it's hosted. I mean, it's on your control now. So it depends on your own Notion space, which is the same that ours for now, but we will modify it later. One thing we can do is go into the, I'll go back and go into the settings, and I'll just show you how to change the domain so it matches the site variable that we defined earlier. Edit. Let's go in edit, and with the domain, we'll put what did we put? Poki, I think. So poki.vercel.app, and it should match. It's already in use, so we'll use something else. Let's go with Poko-Vercel.vercel.app. So I'll copy this. It's telling me it's already in use too. So is it good? Okay, I'll copy this, save, and then we'll go back to we'll go to the environment variables, and here we will find the variable we defined earlier, site, and I'll edit this one to put the domain we just chose earlier. Of course, if you have a custom domain of your own, you can set it up in domains too, and you can change it to your own custom domain, of course. So I'll save this, and this is necessary for a few good practice, let's say. So I really encourage you to do that. It will take like 2 minutes, and it's done for life. So okay, so now we have the good variable, we have the good the right domain that we want. we'll need to rebuild the site for it to match the new variable that we set up. So I'll just show you how to rebuild the site. So let's go into the deployments. We have only one deployment. So a deployment is when Vercel builds your site. And we'll just redeploy, I think. I don't know Vercel very much, but yes, we can clear the cache. It's not necessary. We'll redeploy. Now it's rebuilding our site. We'll see how much time it takes, approximately 1 minute. It could happen that when you're like trying out complicated things in Notion, it could happen that the build fails. So if there is an error, it's here, you will find it. I don't know, if you made a mistake somewhere in Notion, trying out something complicated and it fails, it will show up here. Okay, let's just wait 10 more seconds and it should be done. So I said this is the easy way to do it, to deploy your site, but actually it's not the one I suggest you do. And I'll show you the more complicated, so it's done. I'll show you the more complicated way to do it in Netlify after. How do we go back? Here, so we have a new deploy. It's deployed to the same, there's a, you can read on Vercel to know how it works, but basically you have a specific URL for each deploy, but the main URL is updated every time you make a new deploy. Sorry, I'm just reading. Yeah, okay. So we can visit the site. It's still working. It's the URL we decided to use. And now our site variable that we set up in the environment variable will be updated. So it's all good. I'll just show you how to modify the website and relaunch a build real quick so you can see the result in real time. So let's go in our index page and just write something very clever. Let's say very clever. And we'll just put this here, but yeah, you can see that it's just to see how it works. So now that I've made a change on the website, of course it will not show directly the website here because, like I told you, the website has to be rebuilt every time we make a change. So we can just go into deployments and redeploy. Oops, mistake. Go back, redeploy. There's an easier way to do the redeploy process. I'm just doing the easy thing, no setup thing that you can do right now, but we can do easier. We can do better later. Okay, so while it builds, I'll show you the other way to make this happen. So in my GitHub account, now I have a Poko Vercel repository. The thing is that if you go in there, you'll see that, okay, we are on the main branch here, and we have src and then some files. If I open the original repository, you'll see that we have different branches, and now I'm in the prod branch. And I have more files. I have not only SRC, but website, and there we have the SRC, stuff like that. But what I mean is that we have more content here. And when on our side we update Poko, we'll update this project. And it will not be easy for you to update your version of Poko if you did the like quick one-click deploy with like we did with Vercel now. So the best idea is to take 5 minutes more to deploy your website, but then you will be able to update your code depending on hours when we make changes. So let's show you how it works. So I'll visit the original repository. And what I can do is fork this repository. I should be able to do that. So let's make a fork. So it's asked me where I want to put it and how I want to name it. So I'll keep the same name, and it's going to be in my own GitHub account when I do that. So create a fork, and it should not take long. Okay, it's done. So now I have a repository that's a fork. So it's basically a copy, but you will see that you can update it depending on the original code now. So now that I have this repository, I'll go in Netlify, because this time we will do it in Netlify. But what's interesting is that now you can do the exact same steps we are doing now. You can do it in any static host. So you can check the website. We have listed a few. Where did I do that? In guides, probably. Don't remember. Developer guide, maybe. No. So there's somewhere a list of static hosts. I don't remember where I put it. Here. Okay. So we have a list of static hosts. Basically, it will be the same approach in any of these. What you need is a few settings, a few ways to set up the project. And if you understand that, you can do it in any static host. Let's go back here. Let's go back in Netlify, and let's create a new project. So I'll import from Git, because now we have a repository in GitHub with the code that we need. So I'll import from Git. I'll connect to GitHub. Maybe you're not seeing the page, I don't know. But basically it's asking me to authorize Netlify to connect with GitHub. I authorized it. And it's asking me what repository it should access. I'll set it with all repository. And now I can see my two repositories. So the first one I created for Vercel, and the new one I created from the original one. And I'll choose this one. So Netlify is asking me in what workspace I want to set this up. So you can choose whatever you want. For the branch, I recommend to use the prod one for now. So it may change. Maybe if you're watching this video later, check out the quick start guide, and I'll update it if not the user guide, the quick start guide. I'll update it if you need to use another branch. But for now, if you're doing this like in May or June 2022, just use the prod branch. For the base directory, I encourage you to set up website. npm build, run build is fine. And then we'll show advanced, and we'll set up the two variables that we set up in Vercel earlier. So going back to the quick start guide, you have the two variables here. So we need a Notion token, and we need a site. For the Notion token, I'll go back to my, where is it? In my integration, I'll copy the token, set it up here. And for the site, let's say this one, I'll use the TPS. I'll show you what it is. TPS. Let's say Poko Netlify. Let's hope it's not in use. Poko Netlify dot Netlify dot app. That's enough for now. Functions we don't need. Deploy site. So basically, what we did here is the same that was more or less automatic in Vercel. We just had to configure the basic settings ourselves. It assigned a random name to our site, and we'll go and change the name right now. So I went to the settings, and then change site name, and I'll change it to what we set up earlier. So it was Poko dash Netlify .netlify.app. Save. It's available, so fine for us. We don't have to change the site environment variable. I'm thinking, do I have to show you something else? I don't think so. If you need to change the environment variable, it's in build and deploy. So we are in the settings and then build and deploy. Here you can see that we are using the GitHub repository that we have created before. The settings we set up at the beginning are here. The branch we are using is here. So if later we need to change this, we can edit it and change it to main, for example, if later on I use another branch. But for now, prod is fine. Cancel this. Build hooks is important, but we'll not cover this now. And our variables are here, so we can just click edit and change for example, the site. If you had to change the URL, or if you buy a custom domain and you have to change it, you can change it here. I think that's all. And then, of course, don't hesitate to check out the documentation for Netlify or Vercel, so you can edit whatever you need in these settings. So let's go back to site overview, to deploys. So it finished our deploy. Apparently it worked. And we just need to click this link here to see the end result. And like you can see that we see the very clever modification that we did earlier. So this version is on Poko Netlify. But since we updated the Vercel version earlier, if we open now the website we deployed on Vercel, so okay, this is the deploy preview URL. Let's go back here, deployments. Let's go to overview, and here we can open the main URL that we set up. But you can see that the very clever modification has been updated too. Okay, so I think that covers the setup part. I might 30 minutes. Let's dive a little bit in the user guide. I'm not going to cover everything here. Maybe I'll do another video to cover more of the guide. But let's make a few changes in our Notion page, just so you're not afraid to dive into it. I'll remove this one just because I don't need it. What you can do if you don't want to lose everything that's written here, if you want to keep a reference, of course you can always go back to the original template and see how we do things on the Poko website, or later on we'll provide other templates. So you can always go back in the templates and look for things. Also, I want to mention that we created kind of a forum where you can ask questions. So join the discussion. It's in GitHub, so you should have a GitHub account since you subscribed earlier. So it's easy. You can just create a new discussion and choose the kind of thing you're posting. Is it a question or so on? And we'll try to answer everything. Okay, so user guide. Let's go in our space. Let's delete everything, almost. So we'll delete this one. We'll delete the about page. Maybe we'll keep the blog just to show you an example a little bit quicker than I could do. And let's keep this one. Okay. So I'm in the index page. The index page is the only one that should have a name, a specific name. Index means the root of your website. So what you see in the index page here is, where is it? I move this a little bit just to have it a little bit easier. Okay. So what you see in your index page in Notion is the root of the website. It's the only page that has to have a specific name. You can override this, and by default, the title of the page. I'm not going to dive deeper, but just mention it. The title of the page will be the title you use for the root page. So in this case, Poko. There's a lot to cover, so I'll just go quickly through it, but like I said, I'll try to make another video, and you can dive into the documentation to know more. I'll just try to cover a few things randomly. So we are in the index page. Let's delete everything. Oops. What I need this to be at the top. So if I write content here, I showed you earlier, it's just going to show on the website. So let's put an intro. Okay. So I have an index and I have a blog. I'll delete this one too. And just say, hey, hello blog. Okay. So I'm setting up a home page. I'm setting up a test page. Well, let's keep the image so you can see how it looks. I'll move this. So this is the page I use. Obviously, this is the page I use to make some tests on the main website. this I'll explain to you later. And in our blog, you can see that in our blog page, we have an inline database. So please don't use page database, but always use inline databases. So we have this page that's called blog. There is some content in it. And then we have an inline database. This inline database will be shown like you see here in blog. We'll have the content, but then we'll have the cards to our database. And of course, you can change the design of everything. I just went with something to start off with. And then, of course, you have the link to the specific page of the blog. Okay, I'm thinking a little bit. Okay, let's go with the explanation for this. Okay, let's restart a build first, and then I'll go with the explanation. If you don't mind, I'll go with Netlify just because I'm more used to it. Let's take this one. Trigger deploy site. So it will rebuild the site with the modification we have done now in Notion. So some more explanation. What you put in the first block here, so you can set up a code block. Let's remove it and recreate it. So you see how I do from scratch. So I'll create a new block, a code block, and I need its type to be YAML. There are some, and I need it to be at the very, very top of the page. What you put in there can be variables, or it can be specific properties for the page. Where am I? Here. In the user manual, you'll see that there's long explanations about props. That's what we are going to set up now. Props. So you have to read this. It's really important, and you can do a lot with it. So I'll just cover the basics. But what's important to note is that you can, for example, note some variable, and you'll give it a value, test variable. Now, what's interesting is that I can use this into the content of my page, for example. So I'll use curly brackets. I can say, oops, props dot some variable, and it will show the content of this variable. What you can also do is use specific props, for example, metadata. And when I do that, pay attention. You have to make two spaces and not tab. Use the tab button, on your keyboard, because it will fail if you use tab. So you have to make two spaces. And for example, I can set up a metadata title and say my blog. And I can set up a description. I'm not very inventive. And other stuff, but let's keep it simple for now. And let's already rebuild the site. It failed. Let me quickly check if I can see why. Strange. Okay, I think I know what it is. Let's use Vercel. I just have to make a change in the repository, but that's strange. That is strange that it worked the first time. Okay, let's go with Vercel then. Redeploy. Okay. So I'll show you how this works. So you can set up props in the top code block. You can also set this up if you are using a database. You can set the same thing up into page properties. So you see, for example, here I have I made a mistake. It's metadata, not meta. Metadata title, but you get the idea. So I can use the dot notation. So just a dot between elements to do the same thing that we did here. So metadata dot title will be the title property inside the metadata property. And then I can have a lot more properties. But what you need to know is just that it's basically the same that using the code block at the top of the page. Here I have more content. Let's keep this. Oh, something else to note. You can see that in the blog page, I have my inline database, and I called it underscore blog. That's important too, because anytime you create a page, or in this case a database, with starting with a dash, the page will not show in your final website. So for example, I could create a new page that's called underscore new page with some content. And if I'll put an underscore at the beginning, if I don't want this page to show on the final website. But I could have a sub page. Let's call it sub page. With content. I could have this subpage show up even if the page above is not showing. There's a lot to explain, but let's keep it simple right now. So we'll visit the end result. So we've modified the intro. I'll go into the blog section. We kept this. We put some content at the beginning, and you can see that test variable is showing here. So it's the variable we set up in the blog as a prop at the top of the blog page. So this thing props.some variable is showing because of this. And what's really interesting is that I could set up this variable globally for the whole site. And for this, I'll go into the topmost Notion page. And I'll put this here. And this will cascade in all pages of your site. So almost everything you put in here will cascade on the whole site. There's a section in the user guide about props cascade, props convention, Poko exports, props cascade. And you can see that almost everything is cascading from any page into the children pages, with a few exceptions, but let's keep it simple. So I'll restart a build just to show the cascade thing. Redeploy. What can I show? So here there are a few explanations. So everything that's in boxes is practically some explanation about how to use the settings and the site in general. But it's more complete to follow in the user guide than in here. But there are a few like reminders of how things works. Okay, something else you can do is define components. So it's next level. So we'll not go deep into it, but I'll show you just that it's possible. And then if you have questions, go ask in the GitHub discussion. For example, we have set up here a component for, oops, where am I? That's called main, and that's basically the main part of the page. And all we've done here is set up a class on the main component. We could have done that in some other way, but okay, let's keep it simple right now. And something else we have done is we've defined a wrapper component. So the wrapper component is a special component because it's used to design every page. So a page is designed from the wrapper component that's defined. So here, since we have defined this wrapper component in the topmost page, so we call this page the settings of the website. Since we've defined this wrapper component in the settings, it will be used for every page of the site. And in this wrapper, we have defined a menu, and the menu is itself defined. No, it's in the project. A menu, a header, and what we've done, for example, here, is that we have used the page title as the h1. So the h1 is in HTML is the main title of the page, and there should be only one h1 for each page. And what we've done here is, by default, we are using the page title. So, for example, on this page, the page title is blog. So that's the name we are calling the page in Notion. So we are using this title in the content of the page, because by default, it's not going to do that. Since we want to use this title all the time, we set this up once in the settings, and then it will be used everywhere. One advantage to do that is that now, if I want to have a subtitle like this one, normally in Notion it's designed as an heading 1, but we are overriding the defaults to make it a heading 2, and I'll show you how. So back in the settings, here we have our components, and you could even like write that just without the component thing, but okay, let's keep it simple. So what we say is that h1 need to be h2, h2 need to be h3, and so on. So when in Notion we use an heading 1, on our website it's going to be in heading 2. And that allows us to go in Notion. In Notion you can only have heading 1, 2, 3. Sometimes you need a heading 4. And in this case, what it does is when you use heading 3, in fact, it will be a heading 4 on your website. Okay, I hope you're following the explanation. If you don't go ask question in the discussions, but I think you're good. Let's go back to our example and visit what we've done. So what did we change? Okay, so the new page here shouldn't be showing, and it's not actually. It's not. Okay, so I'll have to change that. It will be changed when you try it probably. But like you see, when I try to navigate to it, it won't work. It shouldn't be showing in the menu, but that's a detail. But what we have in Notion is that we had this sub page under the new page. So this page should exist. It's not in the menu, but it should exist in sub page with content. So basically, you can see how, and of course, the new page name is not showed in the URL. So what I wanted to show you is that you can hide pages with an underscore. And that's what we do with the underscore blog here, because by default, Notion creates a page for this blog database. But we don't want that, because this page we cannot edit it. We can only edit the database inside it, but we cannot set, for example, the props or some content. So it's really more easy to set up an inline database and to start its name with an underscore. So it's not taken into account in the URLs. And this I will check and modify. Okay, what do I need to show next? I think we're pretty much done with the... Oh, and now we can see that the props sum variable on the blog page is still showing, even though we defined it in the settings. So that was to show the cascading effects of props. Something else to... Okay, maybe a quick run into the settings page, because there's a lot happening here. So this is props. You can check out the docs to know more about it. These are the exports, so it's a kind of prop, but we can do a lot more with them. And we've defined some components to be used inside the project. And for example, this nav is how the menu is displayed. Okay, you'll ask questions if you need. What we have is global styles. These global styles will be imported. So if I go back to the site and I check the source code, oops, yes, head, these global styles will be imported into the head somewhere, not here. Oh no, I'm saying shit. Sorry, these global styles, they are imported as a CSS file. So this is important as user-styles.css. Sorry, this is in here. You can see the user-styles.css, and that's the styles we are importing into the page. So for example, okay, I could say that all paragraphs need to be color red. And I'm just say important just to be sure that it shows on the first run. Okay, we'll do some more modifications before we publish. head is going to be injected into the head of the document. So in elements, you can see that, okay, so there's a lot of commented things. That's because this is also commented here, just because it's some examples of what you could use. But you can see that the same things we import here, we set up here, the icon and stuff like that, will be present in the head of the document. So it's an easy way, for example, to import styling libraries. So there are some examples of this here. For example, here we use the water CSS library. You can check up the docs of this URL. There are other ones. Basically, what you are looking for if you want to do something very simple is libraries that will apply styles without you having to set up a lot of classes on the HTML. If you don't understand what I just said, come and ask questions and we'll explain this. You can also set up static files. So everything you upload in Notion, so to make an upload, you just create a new block, say file, oops, it's not file. Yes, file. And you can upload anything you want. What's interesting is that everything you upload here will then be available alongside your website. So, for example, these CSS style sheets are things that I like to use, and I import them here. So every file that we import in Notion in the settings will be available in the final website on user assets slash and then the name of the file. And when we import zip files, it will be unzipped and then imported like normal. So I provide an example here of realfavicongenerator.net, which is a website that allows you to automatically generate icons for your website, and then it provides you with the code snippet to import, and then all the files that you need. And all the files you need will be in a zip file like this. So you just have to drop the zip file into your settings page and then copy paste the code snippet, and then you'll have all icons that you need for your website. You can hide content using these tags, opening and closing tags. Read more about it if you need it. Yeah, components. And then, yeah, okay, so small note about child pages. So automatically Notion will create child pages into the content of the page. So for example, into the index page, I'll have this tests page, that's this one, and it will be created automatically. So if I create a new page, call tests 2, I don't know, it will be created automatically here. By default, this is ignored. You can change the behavior by creating a component, but by default, it is ignored, so you don't have to worry about it. And that is pretty much all I can explain in a reasonable time. We are at 1 hour. So I think I will end on this note. I don't remember if we made some changes that we need to preview. Yeah, just a quick note about the way the menu works, maybe. So the default menu will take the top pages. So the direct children of the settings page will be shown in the menu. So this one shouldn't show. So okay, so maybe don't create an underscore page just beneath the settings page, but a part of that, the top pages will show. Note that you can, okay, I remove this one, and how will I show that? For example, this tests page is not shown in the menu because it is underneath the index page. But the index page is the root page of your website. So try to follow me. So it's not shown in the menu, even though it's a direct children. So if you go tests, you will see the test page. So that's an easy way to use the menus without having to change the component, but decide what you need to see in the menu and what you don't want to see in the menu. So in this case, the index page is always shown at the leftmost side of the menu. And then every other page that is a direct child of the settings is shown on the right. So for example, if I would like to show this test page, I just have to drop it directly in the settings. The URL will be the same because it's just underneath the settings. So it's and it has a name, so it will be the same URL /test, but it will be shown in the menu now. And if you don't want the page to be in the menu, but you want it to have like this one, a direct URL under the bare domain, you just have to put in the index. Okay, I hope you follow me. So that's how the menu works. I'm just thinking. Okay, what you can do also is have more complicated names. For example, I could have sub/page, and I put this in the directly into the settings page, so it will show in the menu, and I will provide a better name. So I'll put a code snippet of type YAML at the very top of the page, and I will say title my subpage, and then I will rebuild the site, redeploy. Okay, I think that will be the last demo. So what it will do is that tests now will be showing in the menu, and the subpage will be shown in the menu with the name of with the title of my subpage. And since we, for the Notion title of the page, we set sub/page, the actual URL to the page will be bare domain /sub/page. I hope you're still following. I know that it can become complicated when we try to explain this, but I think if you just try out, you will see how it goes. So let's visit our website. 50 seconds. Oh yes, we changed the P to red, the paragraph to red in the global styles. So that's why it's showing in red now. So we have the tests. We have my subpage, and if we go to my subpage, you will see that the actual path to the page is sub/page. So that's an easy way to like play with how the menu is set up for now, and without having to change the component, but choose if you want to have a page in a sub path or a direct path under under a bare domain. And if you want to see it in the menu or not, if you don't want to see it in the menu, you can just put in the index page. A quick note about the order it's shown in here. You cannot really like move the subpage um, above the blog, or it will go into the index. So you have to move it where you want, like into the settings, and then you have to go into the parent page, and you have to change the order here. So if I want to have my subpage here, it will reflect in the sidebar. Okay, I think I've done enough for today as an introduction. I hope you enjoy. I hope you can have fun with it. Okay, we've spent a lot of time playing with the settings and the props and how things work. But what you have to understand is that you can also like don't touch the settings at all. You go into the index page, and then you just write content. And the basic idea is that it's really easy to write content. And okay, so let's say I write for 1 hour, and I am pretty proud of my page. I'm in Notion, so it's really easy to write content and modify it and so on. And then I just have to click a button, and 1 minute later it's deployed. So I know that we have spent a lot of time playing with all the possibilities, but the main takeaway is that it's really easy to publish once you have set your website up like the way you want. And more than that, just go with the basic settings at the beginning, and we'll provide other templates and other themes and other components, so you can set this up really easily at the beginning. You write your website, your pages, your blog, or whatever you want. And if you want to change the settings later, if you want to change the styles or anything, you can always do it later, and you have your content into Notion. And like I said, it's like really easy to edit your website. So please come and ask questions. I'll show you again the discussions in GitHub. Come here and ask questions about anything. We'd love to receive feedbacks. We'd love to answer any question that you have. Come and ask questions. Really, in the long run, we'd like to support other platforms than Notion as well. Yeah, there's a lot to be done, but try it. And don't hesitate to ask questions. If you're searching for more than 5 minutes, just come here and ask the question, and we'll try to get back to you as fast as possible. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoy. I hope you want to test it. I hope you want to like replace your old CMS with something lighter and faster. I hope that you want to replace your social media with your own websites. I hope you want to publish notes, digital garden, stuff like that. Yeah, enjoy, and thank you for watching.